afternoon, everybody. Today's class is intercostal spaces. That means the spaces between the two ribs and the costal cartilage. So intercostal spaces are about 11 in number, and last two spaces are incomplete because of the floating ribs, 11th and 12th ribs. So you are seeing the number of intercostal spaces. From these spaces will be numbered from the number of the rib above. Below the first rib is the first intercostal space, like that it goes on. Intercostal spaces are 11 in number on each side. Each intercostal space is numbered for the rib above. Last two spaces are open in front because 11th and 12th ribs are floating. Those spaces intervening between the typical ribs and traversed by vessels and nerves which are confined to the thoracic wall are known as typical intercostal spaces. Third, fourth, fifth and sixth intercostal spaces are typical. Each intercostal space is bounded above by the sharp lower margin of the upper rib and its cartilage, below by the blunt upper margin of the lower rib and its cartilage, in front lateral border of the sternum between the costal notches, behind by the body of the corresponding thoracic vertebrae. Each space is directed downward and forward. It is narrow towards the vertebral column and broad towards the sternum, the widest part being at the costochondral junction. Posterior part is spacious. Posterior part of the space is interosseous, that is between the bony part of the ribs, and anterior part is intercartilageous, that is the cartilage of the rib. Now here we are seeing this blue is the cartilage and the yellow is the bone, and we are seeing the spaces are coming downward, forward and medially, and the space is more at the costochondral junction, and of course posteriorly the space is very minimal compared to the anterior spaces. Contents of these spaces: muscles, vessels and nerves. Intercostal muscles from outside inward are intercostalis externus, intercostalis internus, intercostalis intimus. So there are three muscles: externus, internus and intimus. These overlapping muscles are responsible for the bucket handle and pump handle mechanisms of the ribs that change the transverse and anterior posterior dimensions of the thoracic cage, facilitating respiration. That means in inspiration the ribs are drawn up such that the anterior posterior diameter of the rib cage as well as the width of the rib cage is increased. Intercostalis externus. It is fleshy in the posterior interosseous part and aponeurotic in the anterior intercartilageous part, anterior intercostal membrane. So this aponeurotic part we are calling it as anterior intercostal membrane. The origin of the external intercostal muscle is in the inferior border of the rib above, and insertion is into the outer lip of the upper border of the rib below, upper surface of the rib below. So outer lip of the upper surface of the rib below or upper border of the rib below. The fibers are directed downwards and laterally in the posterior part, downwards, forwards and medially in the anterior part. Intercostalis externus consisting of oblique fibers that run the length of the rib from the tubercle posteriorly to the costochondral junction anteriorly. It is continuous with the aponeurotic external intercostal membrane running from the costochondral junction to the sternum. So that part of the interchondral or interchondral area or cartilageous area, we are calling it as anterior aponeurotic external intercostal membrane. Posteriorly, the fibers blend with the posterior fibers of the superior costotransverse ligaments. In the lower two intercostal spaces, the muscle extends to the free edge of the costal cartilage and blends with the fibers of the external oblique muscle of the abdomen. So the muscles of the external intercostal muscles of the last two spaces are merging with the external oblique muscle of the abdomen. The external intercostals are covered with a thin translucent membrane that separates it from the internal intercostal muscle. As an inspiratory muscle, so this external intercostal muscle is inspiratory muscle. Contraction of the external intercostal raises the rib, increases the anterior posterior diameter and transverse diameter of the thorax. So when it raises the ribs, it is pump hand mechanism. The anterior posterior as well as transverse diameter of the thorax are increased. Usually the respiration is relied on the diaphragm. That is relying primarily on the diaphragm for wide breathing. The external intercostal muscles are recruited for exertional or voluntary deep inhalation. So when you need more oxygen, that means suppose you are running and you are doing some exertion, then you need more oxygen, then you are recruiting the external intercostal muscles to have more of air going in. That is, usually it is the diaphragm, that means the abdominal respiration part, and whenever you need more, it is periabdominal respiration because of the more air is needed. So now a typical intercostal space looks like this in the anterior lateral view. See, first one thing we are seeing is the skin, then the superficial fascia, then we are seeing the external intercostal muscle. The fibers are running downwards, forwards and medially. So it is in the lateral aspect. So the fibers are running downwards, forward and medially. And the fibers of internal intercostal muscle and inner intercostal muscles are in opposite direction. They are almost downwards, lateral. And interior to that we are having the pleura, the visceral pleura and parietal pleura, and before that we are having the endothoracic fascia. See, the yellow, faint yellow line outer to the innermost intercostal muscle, we are having a faint yellow line, that is the endothoracic fascia. After that we are having a parietal pleura, after that the visceral pleura, and of course the lung. Now here we are showing the directions of the external intercostal muscle and internal intercostal muscle at the same time. See the green one, that is running from the angle of the rib, okay, coming anteriorly downwards and medially, it is the external intercostalis muscle, whereas the internal intercostalis muscle is running downward and laterally from the sternum till of course the lateral angle of the rib, it goes like that. Here again you are showing the lateral section, wherein we are showing the origin and insertion. See here the outer margin of the rib, outer margin of the inner surface of the rib is giving origin to the external intercostal muscle, and the base of the groove is giving origin to the internal intercostal muscle, and the upper lip of the groove is giving origin to the innermost intercostal muscle, and in between the internal intercostal muscle and the innermost intercostalis muscle we are having the neurovascular bundle, vein, artery, nerve in that order. And of course below, the rib below is giving insertion again from outside. The external intercostal muscle is on the outer border and internal intercostal is in the middle of the upper surface of the rib, and internal intercostal is the inner surface, inner border of the upper surface of the rib. Intercostalis internus, its anterior part is fleshy, which extends from sternum to the posterior angle of the rib. It arises from the costal groove of the upper rib and is inserted into the intermediate part of the upper border of the lower rib. The fibers are directed at right angles to those of the intercostalis externus muscle. From the posterior angle of the rib to the vertebra, the intercostalis internus is replaced by the posterior intercostal membrane. So the posterior part of the internal intercostalis is replaced by the posterior intercostal membrane, which is an aponetic membrane. This aponetic membrane blends with the anterior fibers of the superior costotransverse ligament. Superior costotransverse ligament is a ligament that is present at the joint, costotransverse joint. That is the angle, the tubercle of the rib joining the transverse process of the concerned vertebra. The lower internal intercostal muscles blend with the internal oblique muscle of the abdomen. So external intercostal blends with the external oblique, whereas the lower internal intercostal muscles blend with the internal oblique muscle of the abdomen. As an expiratory muscle, contraction of the internal intercostal muscle depresses the rib, decreases the anterior posterior diameter and transverse diameter of the thorax. Relying primarily on the elastic recoil of the chest during quiet breathing, the internal intercostal muscles are recruited with the exertional or forceful exhalation. That means again, when you are doing exercise, when you are exerted, that means when you are breathing fast, when you are breathing more and more air in, then only this internal intercostal muscle comes into play to expel more of the air which is formed in the lungs. Innermost intercostal muscles lying between the internal intercostal muscle and endothoracic fascia is the innermost intercostal muscle layer, which works with the internal intercostal muscles to depress the rib. So this work also same as the internal intercostal muscles. This layer the innermost intercostal muscle layer can be divided into three groups of muscles: the transverse thoracic muscle, the innermost intercostal muscle, and the subcostal muscle. So transverse thoracic muscle is present anteriorly, innermost intercostal muscle is present laterally, and subcostal muscle is present posteriorly. Transverse thoracic muscle, also known as sternocostalis. The transverse thoracic muscle have an origin on the lower third of the internal aspect of the sternum. So the posterior surface of the sternum is giving origin to this transverse thoracic muscle on its lower one third. They converge and insert over the internal surface of the costal cartilage of the second to sixth rib. So they are inserting into the internal surface of the costal cartilage, second to sixth rib. The most superior slip that is going to the second costal cartilage is nearly vertical, and then they become more horizontal as they descend the thorax. The lowest slip of the muscle is contiguous with the transversus abdominis muscle. So this transverse thoracic muscle is in its lower part is contiguous with the transversus abdominis muscle. So here we are showing the transverse thoracic muscle, that is getting its origin on the posterior aspect of the sternum. The upper fibers are vertically going towards the second costal cartilage, whereas the lowest fibers are placed horizontally till there is the sixth costal cartilage, and the lowest fibers are contiguous with the transverse abdominis muscle. Intercostalis intimus, innermost intercostalis. It is a part of the transverse thoracic muscle and occupies middle to fourth. So till now the transverse thoracic muscle is occupying the inner part, 1/4 you can say, and now the middle to fourth is occupied by the intercostalis intimus muscle. It is a part of the transverse thoracic muscle and occupies middle to fourth of typical intercostal base. Intercostal vessels and nerves run between the intercostal internus and intimus, hence this space is called neurovascular space. The intimus muscle is absent in the upper two spaces, and vessels and nerves of these spaces run in the endothoracic fascia between internus muscle and costal pleura. Now, intercostalis intimus muscle arises from the upper lip of the costal groove of the rib above and is inserted into the inner lip of the upper border of the rib below. So its fibers have same direction as intercostalis intimus. All the intercostal muscles are supplied by the corresponding intercostal nerve. Subcostal nerve. Well developed only in the lower posterior thorax, subcostal muscles have their aponetic origin at the internal surface of the rib near the angle and apoptotic insertion into the internal surface 2 to 3 ribs below. So this is getting its origin on the posterior aspect on the internal surface of the ribs near the angle, and from there 2 to 3 ribs below it is getting inserted. Some of the muscles may insert into the vertebral body or psoas muscle. So there is the subclavian muscle we are showing getting their origin from the internal surface of the ribs above and going 2 to 3 ribs below and getting inserted into the internal surface of the ribs below. And sometimes they may be inserted into the vertebral body or psoas muscle. Action. The external intercostal muscles elevate the ribs and help in inspiration. Internal intercostal muscles depress the rib and help in expiration. I told you this expiration and inspiration are only when we need more amount of air. That is the forced expiration and forced inspiration only involve this intercostal muscles. Otherwise, the diaphragm is sufficient for the normal passive respiration. And these muscles also prevent drawing out or sucking in of the intercostal spaces during respiration. So they are preventing the outgoing or incoming in-sucking of the intercostal spaces within respiration. So here we are showing the picture of the external intercostal muscles drawing the ribs up such that the rib cage increasing anterior posteriorly as well as transversely, and of course they may be helped by the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Sternocleidomastoid muscle and scalenus muscle, anterior, medial and posterior scalenus muscles. Sternocleidomastoid and anterior, medial and posterior scalenus muscles are also helping in elevating the rib cage. Whereas for expiration, the internal intercostal is drawing the ribs downwards such that the rib cage is losing its length as well as the width, and then it is helped by the rectus abdominis, the external oblique, internal oblique and transverse abdominis muscles to push the air out. Inspiration. Operator. Intercostal hernia. A defect in the intercostal muscle secondary to trauma, surgery and congenital defect may result in prolapse of the lung or abdominal organ. So these intercostal muscles, if they are defective, there is a chance. If they are defective due to what? Due to maybe trauma, surgery, congenital defect, they result in prolapse of the lung or abdominal organs to the exterior. The abdominal organs to protrude out usually require the damage to the diaphragm also because they are below the diaphragm. The herniation may cause pain or become incarcerated or strangulated, resulting in tissue necrosis. So the herniated mass is giving pain because of the constriction in the hole, that is through which it is herniating out. And because of that, pressure on that hole, there is a chance that the outside part of this lung or abdomen and abdominal viscera may lose their circulation and they may become incarcerated or strangulated, resulting in tissue necrosis. When there is no blood supply, there is a chance that tissue becomes necrosed. Surgical approaches into the chest, such as thoracotomy, involves dissection or a division of the intercostal muscles. Surgical approaches into the retroperitoneum may also require division or dissection of the intercostal muscles as well as the diaphragm, resulting in herniation of the intra-abdominal organs. So we are mentioning some causes of the surgical causes of the weakening due to which the thoracic muscles and the diaphragm are getting weakened, thereby leaving a chance for the herniation. As with the repair of the abdominal hernias, primary repairs with the suture absorbable or permanent mesh or a combination are used to treat and prevent complications of hernia. So these hernias can be treated with the sutures, absorbable or permanent mesh or a combination of both, such that hernia and the further complications of hernia are prevented. What are the further complications? I told you already, it is because of the loss of blood, and because of the loss of blood there is a chance that the tissue may necrose and lead to ulceration. Intercostal nerve block. Rib fractures, herpes zoster, thoracic surgery and malignancies of thorax can result in severe pain that affects respiratory mechanics and quality of life. So, rib fracture, herpes zoster, thoracic surgery and malignancy of thorax can result in severe pain that affects respiratory mechanism and quality. An intercostal nerve block involves injection of a short or long-acting local anesthetic around the intercostal nerve posterior to the region of the pain. The long-term pain relief may be achieved by distraction of the nerve with a phenol or cryogenic probe. Cryogenic probe is very cold probe that can kill the tissue because of the -degree temperatures. Visualizing the nerve with ultrasound can improve the accuracy of the intercostal nerve block and reduce the chance of collateral injury to the adjacent fluid. So, visualizing the nerve with ultrasound can improve the accuracy of the intercostal nerve block. That is, we can directly put the point on the nerve itself and reduce the chance of collateral injuries to the adjacent fluid. Intercostal flaps. Neoplasm, trauma, infection and congenital causes of damaged or necrotic tissue in the thorax involves complicated surgical repair. Mobilizing strips of intercostal muscle along with their blood supply, known as pedicle intercostal muscle flap, can facilitate repair of damaged tissue by transplanting healthy vascularized tissue into the compromised area. So, if a part of the thorax is involved in injury or in infection or in ulcer and that part is lost, necrosed, then we can mobilize a part of the intercostal muscle along with their blood supply, which we are calling as a pedicle intercostal muscle flap. It can be transplanted on the damaged tissue, and then that means it is having its own vascularization and it is going to survive definitely. This procedure involves removing all 3 layers of the muscle and its investing fascia and the adjacent periosteum while leaving the anterior or posterior vessels attached. The flaps may then be attached to the injured tissue or interposed between a tracheoesophageal fistula. Adjacent intercostal muscles can be mobilized to create a wider flap. Suppose you need a more wider flap, 2 adjacent intercostal muscles also can be mobilized likewise to create a wider flap. So that almost finishes the intercostal spaces. So here you have to remember the action of the intercostal muscles. Intercostal externus is pulling up the ribs such that the rib cage is increased anterior posteriorly and transversely, whereas intercostal internus is pulling the rib cage ribs downwards such that the rib cage is losing its area in length as well as the width, transversely. And then these intercostal muscles are preventing blowing out or sucking of the intercostal spaces during respiration. And of course, this subcostal muscle and the internal intercostal muscle and the transverse thoracic muscle are all the parts of the internal intercostalis intima, and they are joining the muscles of the abdomen. And of course, organization Here we are seeing in this figure the origin is from the external intercostal is from the lowest border of the upper rib, and then insertion is the outer border of the upper surface of the lower rib, and then the internal intercostalis muscle is from the groove, intercostal groove of the upper rib, and then intermediate area of the upper surface of the lower rib, and then of course the intima is from the upper lip of the intercostal groove and the outer, the innermost part of the rib below. Of course, this is the chances for communication. Now here we are showing the directions of the external intercostal muscle and internal intercostal muscles. External intercostal muscle are muscular, fleshy in between the interosseous area, that is starting from the tubercle, going laterally, and then at the angle coming anteriorly and medially. So the fibers are first starting downwards and laterally, then they are downwards, medially and anteriorly. And internal intercostalis is the muscle fibers are in opposite direction, so they are from downwards and laterally in the anterior aspect, and posterior aspect they are replaced by the posterior intercostal membrane. So almost that finishes your intercostal spaces. Thank you.